good news. Let me say that it's wonderful that you are with us, and I must thank Ashok, my colleague, for making it possible. There are a lot of Indians, waiting to hear from you on maybe some words of encouragement on how you see things and what are the life lessons you can share with us. I know that you have beaten a different path while being in Bollywood. You're not typically Bollywood. You follow your heart, and I must mention that there are three of your films which have resonated with me. Kabul Express, I felt, was one of the first films in which Indians were shown, the larger footprint of Indian foreign policy, wherein
Right.
Afghanistan as reporters. So, that was, I think, a good statement. Vicky Donor broke the mold. And I must share with you that I was the consul general in Dubai when that was released. We loved the movie so
Oh,
much that I went back and we booked the entire hall. And then I gave half the tickets to the Punjabi community in Dubai and the half to the Bengalis. And we
oh
had a
wow.
riot.
Wow.
And the third film I must mention is Madras Cafe. And this is a little serious note. I joined the Foreign Service in 1990. We lost Rajiv Gandhi in 91. And
Yes.
there was this angst, there was this anger. And one carried it for all these years. And we said, how can a motley group of people come and knock off one of our, former prime ministers who
Yeah.
possibly could have been prime minister again? And when your movie came, uh, it's strange that the country did not provide a closure to Rajiv Gandhi's death. But in your movie, Madras Cafe, which I think you even produced, you
Yes.
actually brought an emotional closure for many of us because somewhere out there in the public domain there was an acknowledgement that how could a big country like India, bear this? It was a humiliation. It was tragic. Without going into the pluses and minuses of politicians and political parties, one felt
Right.
aggrieved. So in many sense, I don't know whether you've got this feedback ever, is there was a certain closure in Madras Cafe. And that's why I salute you for doing films which are different with meaning and as an example of your life. And very proud that we also come from the same college, separate by some several years probably.
Oh,
So
Jai
I
Hind.
was in Jahan, yes, 83
Oh,
to 86.
oh,
Yep. So
lovely.
that was it. So I leave it now. Of course, there are some young footballers. I must mention the connection between India and Spain and football. There are about 10 to 12 kids learning to play football while they study in schools, etc. There is
Right.
this club, Sudeva Anuj Gupta, who sends kids here to study
I
and
know
play
him.
football.
Yeah.
Oh, you know him, great. So maybe you can talk to the kids who are alone and worried and a bit tense away from their parents. In fact, their parents are more worried than the kids are. So please address them as well. So I said my bit, all yours. Thank you.
Thank you, Sanjay. Thank you. Thank you. Really kind of you. And I think I can
So
see the comments for the. I'm sorry, I can't hear anyone, but I'm assuming that I can see comments and then I can reply to certain comments. Uh, Rabia saying hi, Jay. And Chandra Chawla loved Parmanu as well. Sanjay, that's one of my productions, Parmanu. I wanted to do something different and I wanted to talk about the nuclear test that we conducted. And I've got this love affair, Sanjay, and that love affair is with India. I have a big crush on India and I'm obsessed with my country to another level. So I just try and keep making movies where the youth can watch our films and they get aware about what happened in the past and what happens. Because I think, when I made Madras Cafe, for example, a lot of people told me, why are you making a film where today's youth don't even know who Rajiv Gandhi was? And I told them it's really important to understand who Rajiv Gandhi is and was to understand the footprint of what's happening today. And just to give you a personal experience of mine, I was sleeping in bed and I felt a drop of water on my face. And I woke up and my mom was crying and she was drawing the curtains. And I asked her, I was really young. I asked her what happened. And she said, Rajiv Gandhi was killed last night. And then I saw certain magazines where his body and his face with the lotto shoes. And it really impacted me. And that's why I made Madras Cafe. Simple. I just made it because of my life experience. So I believe
No,
we lost a good
but
man.
but it's strange that a closure to a very emotional and tragic
Yeah,
moment for Indian history was brought in by your film. I don't know whether
yeah,
you got this feedback ever, but I've used this several times on international fora that sometimes
right.
Bollywood cuts deep and cuts right, and I think you cut this very well.
Thank you, thank you. And a lot of the times when I make my films, I remember when I made Parmanu, uh, it was the first person who heard the narration of Parmanu was my co-producer, and this was before I started shooting. And I asked him, "आपको film, आपको script कैसे लगी?" He's saying, "Sir, एकदम बकवास है sir, बहुत खराब script है." And I smiled because when he said that, I realized that I have to do it because I wanted to challenge the conventional way we Indians think about films. I respect song and dance. I have no problem with it. But I think it's high time we broke the mold, which is why I became a producer, which is why I'm trying to create the content I'm trying to create, and which is why I want the youth of this country and even in Spain, our young kids out there to understand why it is so important being Indian and why it is so important to be proud to be Indian. And what is our history? Where did we come from? We were ruled by the British. Was it good? Was it bad? What are the positives, negatives? I want our youngsters to read Freedom at Midnight, for example. You know, I believe I am an accidental actor, but I feel I am an Indian first. And it's very important for people to really, really understand not only about this country, but understand the world map and to understand what's happening in the world today. If you understand what's happening in Syria, or you understand what's happening in Ukraine, or you understand what's happening in India, you will understand what's happening in India. And I think that's very important.
Lost him again. Hi, we've lost him again.
Yeah, I think we have lost
Assist.
him. Yes, sir. I think we have lost
Oh,
him.
he's
Yeah,
back.
he's there.
I'm
He's
here.
there.
I'm here. I'm here. I'm here, Basis.
Sorry, carry on.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, John, please carry on.
So I think it's important to do films that are different and to keep challenging oneself. Shaibia has said that Dishum is my daughter's favorite. Thank you, Shaibia. That was a fun film. I had a great time doing it. Basis, you have to just help me with a few of the comments because I can't see the complete comment. So
Yes,
maybe you can guide me.
one of the questions that are coming up, most of them are asking regarding your moving from acting into production, like
Yeah.
how different you are finding production from acting, and what motivated you coming into this production business.
I think being a producer and being a director is far more powerful than being an actor. It empowers you because you own the space. You create that baby. An actor is a means to an end. You know, an actor is the medium by which you communicate what you really want to show. But being a producer is actually putting this project together. Being a director, you're the captain of the ship. So I'd probably give a lot more credit to directors and producers. Not to take away from actors, because actors really are the face at the end of the day. But, you know, directors are the real heroes. Neil Shah has asked something. You think actors are, and I lost the entire comment. Do you want to just encapsulate on that?
So one of the questions that viewers are asking is there are some movies which may not do very good on box offices, but sometimes you enjoy doing that particular role.
Yeah.
So is there any movie which can
I'll tell you. In the serious space, I think Romeo Akbar Walter was a fantastic film. I'm very proud of making that film. And in a very Kafkaesque space, if you heard of Kafka, very alternative space, I think No Smoking is one of my favorite films, which no one understood, but I loved. So I think these are films that are very important to do. Water did not do well in India at all. It didn't even run one show in India, but it went and was nominated for the Academy Awards for the best foreign film. So I think each film has got its own destiny, and you have to be proud of the work you do. and you have to be convinced about why you're doing certain things. Like I told my producer, I want to make a sequel to No Smoking. And he just pretended like he didn't even hear me, because he's like, you're crazy. He's saying people make sequels out of hit films. You want to... And I said, yes, I think it's a fantastic film and you must do things that are different and that challenge you.
True, true, very true. So, other question that is very common asked is like, nowadays digital platforms like Netflix, Amazon, they are having real good contents on them, and the mainstream audience, they are now
Yeah.
moving into these digital platforms. So, how do you see the evolution of audience and also the mainstream cinema vis-a-vis these digital platforms?
Yeah, I think the audience has got a lot more choice. It's fantastic. I think we'll grow as filmmakers. Actors have got a lot of more platforms to showcase their talent on. Best case and example, Abhishek Bachchan, he's doing the second season of Breathe. I believe Abhishek is one of the best actors of his generation. He's fantastic. And I'm so happy that he's being able to use his talent to do something far more credible on a platform like, maybe Netflix or Amazon, etc. So I think it's great that we have these opportunities. And I feel I think the biggest winner is the audience, because they have the opportunity to watch so many things. Like I'm watching this Netflix series called Fauda. It's an Israeli series.
Yes.
It is next level. It is fantastic. It is fantastic. Hands down, one of the best things I've seen. And I think, it's really, really, really special. I've heard there are so many good series in India. I want to watch, I've just started, I want to watch Family Man, because Manoj Bajpayee, according to me, is an institution. If there's anybody who can start an acting school in this country, it's Manoj Bajpayee. So I'm a big fan of his, but I'm also his friend, and I learn a lot from him. So I'd love to. I saw a bit of Family Man. I loved it. I'd like to see a lot more of that. And there's some fantastic things that India's making, but we still have some way to go.
Yeah. On Family Man, I can say I have watched Family Man. I just loved it. It's a fantastic series.
Right.
So now moving on from movies, you have huge interest in football. So one of our viewers, Ajinkya, is
Yeah.
asking, what are the challenges you face as a football club owner in a country like India where football is not that popular?
I think you've answered the question in the question, because we only face challenges. That's all we do. Because football is not your primary sport. It's only about cricket. And for all you guys in Spain, you'll understand that football is like religion. Be it the Catalonia side or be it on the Madrid side, it's like religion. With Barcelona or Real, it's big. In our country, I think Northeast is the hub for football. We are trying to develop a football culture there. It's been very difficult, to be very honest. I'm the only owner that's non-corporate in this, and I singularly own this club. So it's even more difficult for me. But I have a dream, and I want to realize that dream, and I want football to be played in all the 8 states of the Northeast. And I want our team to represent all those 8 states, and very proudly. We didn't do too well last season. We did better the season before that. But yeah, I love football, and I'm not really a big fan of the business of football in this country.
Okay. So as we are in Spain, we can see in Spain, football is a way of life. Like people can associate themselves with football, and that is visible even on street during Premier Leagues and all. So do you foresee this thing happening in India in future?
I think it'll take time. India's still a very young country where football is concerned. You can't expect miracles. You have to understand why IPL does well in India, because the best players in the world are from India. So you have Indian heroes. The best football players in the world do not belong to India. So it's going to take time to develop a football culture. But the idea is to keep going at it and not to give up. And I'm very optimistic about it. I'm positive.
Okay. And John, as Ambassador sir also said, like we have some young football, like they are training here in different clubs in Spain. So if you could give some
One sec,
positive
sorry,
messages.
Tamanna has just said it's my young friend Vanshika's birthday. So I want to wish Vanshika a very happy 18th birthday.
Very happy birthday, Anshika. So
Yeah.
can you, if you could give them some positive messages to motivate them to these young football kids who are doing their training in Spain?
I just say realize your potential, follow your conviction, because there'll be a lot of people around you who will probably tell you that you're not good enough and that you cannot do it. But I think it's important that you must give it all you've got. And trust me, I'm a guy who comes from a very middle class family. I didn't even, 1 in a billion chance to make it into the film industry. But I'm here. So if I can do it, I believe so can anybody in any field. So just don't give up on your dreams and follow your convictions.
I think that would be motivating these young kids, and hopefully in future we can see some of them playing big leagues all around the world. So we
Tell those
also
young
have
kids that when they finish their course there and finish their football there, they need to come to Northeast United FC and play for my club.
sure, hope they are listening, and
Yeah.
they would definitely make you as well as India proud. And we
Yeah.
also have Mr. Anuj Gupta, who owns a club here,
Yeah,
football
Sudeva.
club
I know him. Yeah.
in
Yeah.
Valencia. So he has a particular question to ask. So I am putting him online.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mr. Anuj, can you listen me?
Yeah, I can hear you, but can you hear me?
Hi, Anuj.
Yeah. Please,
Oh, hi, John.
please put your question.
Good evening, sir. Actually, the question is that firstly, thank you, John, and thank you, sir, for making this webinar a great way of motivating the kids and the people who are in Spain. My question to you, John, is that in regards to football, do you think that, and it is connected with the movies, that do you think that having football movies in Bollywood would also inspire a lot of young footballers to be a professional footballer one day? Because I see a lot of sports movies coming in, but there are hardly any football movies which are coming in. John, can you hear me?
Yeah. So honestly, I feel, as much as I want to give you a cliche answer and tell you yes, I feel it's the other way around, because cricket is a successful sport. That's why cricket films do well. I think it's important to develop a football culture from grassroots, exactly what you're doing, Anuj. And there's no shortcut. One movie is not going to make a difference. So even if the movie does well, it's not going to make a really big difference. I think football is all about, it's a very purist sport. It's developing it from grassroots, picking up kids from the age of 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, and developing them. And then only can you build a successful football culture. I don't think, a film will help. But the day you have a successful football story in real life and you make that into a film, that'll probably work.
Yes, I think that's perfectly that's a perfect answer, I would say. But in regards to, on behalf of all the children from Shativa, the club CD Olympic,
Hi guys.
Shativa, I would like to say that, and they are 4 of those boys are also listening to you. They're part of the webinar, and they are huge fan of you, of yours, and especially because you've done so many inspirational movies. And especially in this time of life, I think everyone needs to be inspired, and they need to believe that things will get better.
Yep.
And when you watch movies, we just get inspired more and more. And there's one more thing. Lastly, John Nayas from Olympic might be good enough to play for Northeast United this year. There will be a couple of players from Olympic who would be giving trials at your club. So
Oh,
let's hope.
fantastic. Fantastic.
Yes,
Fantastic.
yes.
I'll be more than happy, Anuj, and I'm saying this on record. I'll be more than happy to entertain them. Please get them
Thank
on,
you.
bring them on.
Thanks, John. Thanks.
Thank you, Anuj.
Thank you, Anuj, for your questions. So now moving ahead, I'm getting a lot of questions on fitness. And since you are like a fitness enthusiast and a
Right.
lot of people look up to you as a role model on fitness front. So one important thing is like, once you start fitness or fitness routine or doing gym, but you have a lot of enthusiasm at the start, but slowly you start, procrastinating and you are not regular. So you yourself being such a role model on this front, can you suggest how to avoid this procrastinating so that we can be more consistent on
See,
this?
you have to have mental discipline, very simply putting it. Um, Fitness can't be a phase in life, it has to be a way of life. So you have to be very disciplined. You have to wake up to fight another day, and you have to do it for yourself, not for the world. And if you can do that every day, you'll be successful. Otherwise, you'll just be one of the sheep in the herd. The choice is yours whether you want to be a leader or a follower.
During this COVID time, do you suggest any fitness routine? Like people are now locked down in their homes.
No, I think there are many people who are suggesting fitness routines out there. I'm sure there are many YouTube sites and many things that you can look up to for fitness tips. I just feel, this time just used to reflect and train your mind. I think that's very important. You need to train your mind, and you need to kind of just put your life into perspective. Fitness is only one small part of that, but you need to get a fit mind and discipline your mind. I think that's very important. And once you discipline your mind, the body will follow.
Okay. And one more thing, I personally wanted to ask this, like now you are under lockdown and sometimes you tend to get frustrated sitting at home every day. And you yourself being such a huge film star, you have the tendency, you always want to meet people and you are very outgoing. So how you are managing this lockdown? I mean, confining yourself
No, my
in a
life
limited
pre-quarantine
space.
and post-quarantine is the same. There's no difference in my life. I don't go out that often. I don't socialize that much. Not that I'm unfriendly. I sit at home. I eat home food. I spend a lot of time in the house. So I'm not frustrated at all. And it's about training your mind. And for everybody out there, you've got to train your mind. You can't get frustrated. You know, people still don't know what real quarantine is. If I take that mobile phone away from all of you, then you guys are going to flip and fall, because you all are all such slaves to social media. And that's the sad part. Today, I'm doing this call with you guys. We're connecting with each other. The world has become a smaller place. Of course, we've got our advantages of having social media, but we're all slaves. We can't live without this. If I take that phone away from each and every one of you, I guarantee you there'll be people out on the streets running around looking for other people to talk to. That's real quarantine. You're not in quarantine. You've got enough of entertainment. You've got Netflix, you've got Amazon, you've got your friends, you've got WhatsApp, you've got FaceTime, you've got everything. And I'm sure a lot of us are very happy doing that, as long as you use the time very constructively.
Yeah. Thank you so much for your motivating words during these difficult times. Regarding the impact of COVID-19, you yourself being a producer, so how do you see like the Bollywood commerce being affected by this?
So I'll tell you what, I'm not an expert. First of all, I'll tell you, even the biggest expert in our industry doesn't know when theaters are going to reopen. He doesn't know when films are going to be, when film shootings are going to start. My bigger issue right now in my country is the poor people and their daily wages and where they're going to get their next meal from. So even if I'm a producer, being an Indian first, it hurts me, and I want to see my people fed. We are doing all we can, and to see that we can help in our own little way. And I really salute our community, that's the Indian film industry, because from Akshay to Salman to Shah Rukh to everyone has really gone out there and they've done their bit, and hats off to them. You know, they've really, really done their bit, and we all have in our own little way. So I think as a community, we've really stood behind our people, but my heart breaks when I see the poor. So for me, that's my priority. Not, I care a damn about my industry right now. I care about the people. And for me, my people are suffering, and that's what breaks my heart. And I want them to be fine. You know, it's easy to talk about quarantine in a house like mine or in Spain. Pardon me for saying this, but anywhere in the world. But think of a slum dweller who has to stay in an 8 by 10-foot house and he's told not to get out. How difficult is it for him? Where's he going to get his next meal from? You know, think about the stray animals. Who's going to feed them? So I think there are bigger issues in life than films. And I think films can wait. Films can wait. I think we need to deal with bigger problems. And I think that's very important.
That's really encouraging and very refreshing hearing this from you. And of course, every one of us has to do our bit as much as we can for any, like, whoever needs our help. That would be the biggest service during this time. So will you to give any like particular message to Indians stranded abroad? Like they might be panicking, and sometimes you feel frustrated. You want to
No,
go
I would.
back to your home.
Just the only message I'd give is don't panic. I mean, why would you panic? As long as you're following certain norms, there's enough of social distancing. Why are you panicking? The only reason why you panic is because you're feeling lonely. So it's you'd rather feel lonely than fall sick. So my only, and I'm being straight, and I'm cutting this short, and I'm saying, you know, just don't panic. You've nothing to panic. Think about how fortunate you are, first of all, to be in Spain. Think about the fact that you got to travel to Spain. So I think about the better things in life. What I'm saying is, when this whole thing is over, I'd request all of you to come back and do something for India and for our people here. And that's my one big advice that I can give you is, this pandemic has taught us that we're not invincible. Thank God for that. Thank God for that. And I think let's use this time and kind of do good for people who need money, need food. And I think there are a lot of poor people in this world. And if your own country has so many of them, then reach out and help in your own little way. Help one person. At least make a difference to one person in your life. That one person will carry on that to one more person. And by the end of your lifetime, I think there'll be 10 people who will benefit from your little help. So just try and help one person, if not more. And that's my only advice. And it's not just about money. It's about time. It's about sweat equity. Give your time as well. You know, that's very important.
Yeah, very well said. So now another aspect of your life, which is, you know, it's a learning for everybody, is your vouching for animal rights. Like you are a big advocate of rights of animals.
Yeah.
So, and you have also done a musical video like Unleash, which is about this animal rights. So can you please share some thoughts on that?
No, I think, you know, and that's why I tell people, you know, you have to read Sapiens because it validates only what I say. We're the only race in the world to destroy the animal world so drastically. Animals have survived for millions of years before us. We came in a few thousands of years and we've completely destroyed the animal world. We've destroyed the ecosystem as human beings. I'm not being critical about human beings, but the fact is that when it comes to our own lives, we run and we hide. But when it comes to slaughtering and when it comes to animals, we don't really care. So I think it's time to reflect, you know, look out and see that not just human life, but all kinds of life, animal life also, they're very important to our ecosystem. They're very important to us. So respect that completely. Please respect that. And please adopt strays and take care of animals, because I think they mean a lot to us.
Yes, indeed. So on this front, I can see some of the questions which is coming up is you are a vegetarian. So being a vegetarian, how do you manage your diets?
No, I have eggs. I used to have fish, but I have egg whites. So I'm not completely vegetarian. But yeah, I was just having my protein shake. I think I managed pretty okay. I don't have a problem. Uh, and I'm doing well for myself, and I have a very disciplined diet. So I can have another 24-hour session on health. So we won't get into that at this point, but just be disciplined about your food and don't have junk food. That's all.
So some of them are asking if you can share your, the daily routine from when you start your day, how does it pass?
I'll say it, but will you guys be able to follow it? Sleep by 9:30 or 10, wake up at 4:30 in the morning, train from 5:30 in the morning till 7 in the morning, read, finish your work. Now you've got quarantine time, finish your work, get fresh, get ready, get back to reading, train in the evening again for an hour and a half. And training doesn't mean lifting weights. That's not my idea of training. Training could be so many other things, just walking in your house. Like I've got a friend of mine who's walked in his house. He walked 50 kilometers in his house. So, I mean, there are people who are doing crazy things. So I'm saying there are different ways to train yourself. So just stay fit. And I always say this, train your mind. That's most important. Am I trained in my mind 100%? No. I'm also learning how to train my mind. So I'm not some guru here trying to give you advice. I'm also learning while I'm talking to you. So I think it's really important to train your mind.
Thank you so much, John. So now, if you allow, we can have some few quick questions which you can answer in a, one word or maximum one sentence.
Yeah.
So can we start?
Yeah, sure.
So your favorite action hero?
I would say has always been Sylvester Stallone, because he inspired me.
Okay. One city you dreamt of traveling to?
I wanted to go to Japan. I've not been to Japan. I really want to go to Japan. But again, I was so discouraged reading about Taiji. And I insist on all you guys following the Dolphin Project, because in Taiji, they slaughter dolphins and it's horrific. So for all you guys, please just go on to that. I'm not trying to get get you guys depressed here, but certain things and practices that people follow about exotic animals being eaten and dolphins being slaughtered. It's not happening. So, but yeah, Japan is somewhere where I really want to go to.
Okay. What is inspiring you in life right now?
I think I set benchmarks for myself, so I don't look at anybody for inspiration, and thank God for that. And I'm happy doing my own thing, and I want to reach certain benchmarks that I have, and I'm very far away from them. Very far away from them. I have a long way to go.
Okay. 3 things you can't live without.
Right now, unfortunately, I'll say my protein shake. Unfortunately, I can't live without it. I can't live without training and my motorcycles. I love my motorcycles, and I'm missing my motorcycles because, in fact, Spain, I want to tell you, Spain has got probably the best motorcyclist in the world today, Marc Marquez. He's a fantastic Spanish rider, and he's a MotoGP world champion. So he's an absolutely fantastic rider. So congratulations.
Bikes, I was recently watching one video where you were describing like, let me take you through my babies, and you were describing 10 to 12 bikes and describing about that. That's a really good video if anyone like bike lovers want to see.
Yeah.
So, your favorite Bollywood song?
From my first film, Avarapan Banjarapan. But if it's a fun song, then I think it's Akshay and me in Tu Mera Hero in Desi Boys. I love that song. It makes me happy every time I hear it.
One movie, one Bollywood movie, which you might have seen and you must have thought, yeah, I should have acted in this movie. Any movie, if you.
I think there are many films. I can't think of one film offhand. There are many films that I wish I would have been a part of. I don't know. I really can't think offhand. But I wish I can do better and more meaningful work, and that's why I become a producer. So I hope I can do, and I hope other actors can work in my production too, and I hope I can give them an opportunity to also do some interesting work.
So that's it regarding the rapid questions. So, uh, John, can I ask you to say one dialogue from one of your movies, which might be your favorite?
I don't. I don't remember a lot of my dialogues.
I can help you. In one movie like Parmanu, I saw it. I really love this dialogue. हमने हमने जो किया देश
जो
के
भी
लिए
करेंगे
किया
हम लोग देश के लिए करेंगे. That one. जो भी होगा देश के लिए होगा.
If you can say that.
I don't remember. You want to say it for me? You can say it for me.
I don't remember it completely.
Yeah. No, but that was inspirational. Parmanu is another very special film for me, and I'm happy I did it.
Thank you, John, so much for answering all these questions. One question that I had, this is my question, because I think most of the questions that viewers have asked, you have already answered. So I had this question, suppose when you are doing these movies like Madras Cafe or Parmanu, which you have produced also. So these are based on real events, So, but while you produce a movie or you act in it or being a director, so you take sometimes liberty also, like you digress from the real event. So I want to know on this, how much liberty you take while making a movie, like digressing from real facts.
We try and take as less liberty as possible. If I was doing Batla House and I was playing Sanjeev Kumar Yadav's character, I would ask him as to where I could take that liberty, if I could take that liberty, or where I saw a reason to take that liberty. And most of the time, I probably would not. We try and avoid taking too many creative liberties. So I can't give you an exact percentage, but I'd say maybe 80-20, 90-10%, where 90% is factual, 10% is liberty. But we try and avoid taking too many creative liberties.
John, I think we have reached to end of this webinar.
Thank you.
As the time you have promised. So if I could have missed something asking very important and that you would have wanted to say, you can say.
No, I just tell everybody out there in Spain, keep the faith. Don't panic. Thank you, Mr. Verma. Sanjay, thank you so much for having me, and hope to see you around sometime really soon. And I hope some of my words made a little sense to some of the listeners, because I think life is more important than just films. So I think we've got a long way to go.
Well, yeah, let me formally thank you, John, for this lovely interaction. And what this has done is, I think it has bridged the gap further between you and your fans, and your empathy has come through. And the point you made that in situations like this, people, when they feel that they are isolated or they are getting the wrong end of the stick, they should realize that they are actually better off than anybody they can think of. I mean, you just have to look at the news. Look at the migratory labor in India, the poor people, the business, the SMEs, who probably the film industry itself, a lot of projects going off track. So there's a lot of sadness, there's a lot of misery, there's a lot of dislocation. And almost everybody in Spain who feels from the Indian community that he or she is suffering, well, most of you are not relatively. Some of you are, in the sense that if you are a temporary visitor, you came here as a tourist and you're stuck, you can imagine for a month more than what you expected to stay. Well, that's a tough position to be in. But 95% of the people have to just look and compare themselves with the others. The community has by and large been very calm, very patient, very understanding. There are only a handful of cases where people are, stressed out, and more so because their
Yeah.
parents are stressed out in India. But
Don't worry, everything will be fine.
occasionally, yeah, and occasionally we also get very positive feedback. I mean, I won't name the gentleman. There's a justice in the Chennai High Court, and he wrote me a lovely letter the other day. He said, I'm not asking you for anything. I just want to convey to you that my only child, my daughter, is studying and doing her PhD in Barcelona. Available to you for any outreach activity you might want her to do for the Indian community in Barcelona. Now, only
Oh,
child,
wow.
a girl, and the father, justice in one of our high courts. Now
Wow.
this is so positive. I wrote back to
Fantastic.
him. I said, this is, in the first thing in the morning when I read a mail like that, I feel so enthused. I feel so positive. And then,
Yeah.
then I told him that our problem is in India, people are getting worked up, not the Indians stuck in Spain. So he wrote me another letter. He said, the middle class in India, they they don't have the patience of the Indian peasant, and they don't have the forbearance of the Westerner. They're stuck somewhere
Yeah.
in the middle. They've lost the grit which India had, and they don't have the sagacity and the maturity of Western civilization. So somewhere they're stuck. So I hope you're not producing a generation of softies, or in Marathi we
Yeah.
used to say bailias.
Yeah.
Bailias. I hope you're not going that route. But thank you for being there today. You've
Thank
done a
you.
fantastic outreach on behalf of the embassy. And let me offer you that next time you're in Spain, I hope you'll come here sometime soon. Let us know so we can host you
Sure.
and celebrate you and your work in a more befitting manner. And
Thank you,
you
sir.
stay
Thank
safe
you.
and keep doing good stuff. Keep doing good stuff.
Thank you, Sanjay. Thank you so much. Thank you. Lots of love. Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
You too.
Bye.